Stand Up Diaries with Michelle Christine.
Hello and welcome to Stand Up Diaries. Entry 162, and this one's called Envision the Future You Want. And I'm in my new digs. This is the new room, right now I'm sharing the living room, so my roommate, he's out at work right now. I have today off. And this is kind of the bedroom right here that I kind of chill in. And it's my everything. This is where I spend all of my time. There's a kitchen, of course, and a bathroom. But yeah, it's all I need. It's about a 5-minute walk from where I used to live, and only about a 25-minute walk to work, so I can walk to work, which is still great. And boy, is it hot today. It's so hot. I don't know if you can see the sweat just on my face. I still drink tea despite the fact that it's this hot. I think it's like around 100 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know, maybe around 30 degrees Celsius. I'm trying to figure out the conversion. It's still a work in progress. Anyway, so Envision the Future You Want is inspired by the fact that I saw Ellen today on the Howard Stern show. And I love that show. I watch a lot of it. And I mean, he's had really great interviews with just so many people, and they're longer. So, I mean, when you sometimes have guests on a late night talk show, I mean, maybe they'll be on for 2 or 3 minutes. And half of that is kind of dedicated to promoting what it is that they're coming there for, and that's totally understandable. But with the Howard Stern show, you can kind of get to know the person a little bit. He asks a lot of fun questions, kind of about their story, their journey, and he really gets them to open up, and he's so open that it's so easy to work off of that. So I really love his interview style. And you know, what's interesting is that back in the day, he kind of used to make fun of Ellen a little bit and kind of razz her for like the clothes that she wore. And then he met her and got to know her a little bit, and now they're friends, and she was happy to do his show and really enjoyed doing it and really loves what he does. And I think that that's a really good thing for kind of both of their characters, where, you know, in the comedy realm, there's going to be times where you're kind of poking fun at certain things. And you're going to be on the chopping block sometimes. Other people are going to be on the chopping block sometimes. But if you're two mature, you know, intelligent, talented people, and maybe you've razzed each other a little bit, but then you meet each other and you get along, you can totally find a way to just kind of have an interview and it kind of be, you know, hitting the ground running. So I think that's kind of cool. Like, you have to have thick skin to work in this business, and you have to be able to take a joke and dish a joke. And I just really loved the entire interview. And Ellen did say at one point where she wrote this joke out, and it was her like phoning God joke, and like some horrible stuff had just happened to her in her life, and she just was like in bed, and she woke up, and she was kind of just like in this fervor of trying to write down this joke idea that she had, and she just like almost couldn't write fast enough. And that ended up being the joke that she said on the Johnny Carson show, and then he waved her on to the couch, which is like the top honor at that time. She was the first female comedian to sit and chat with him. It was kind of like getting anointed by him. Howard Stern was joking about how it's kind of arrogant that he, like, you know, oh, you're worthy, but you're not worthy. But regardless of that, Ellen said that it was the kind of turning point in her career, and one of the best things that had ever happened to her, arrogant or not. But she said that she envisioned it as she was writing it, and she said it was like 4 or 5 years later was the time that she actually got up on stage and said that joke and had him kind of wave her on. But she's like, I'm a real big believer in the fact that, you know, you create your future by kind of envisioning it and planning for it and believing in yourself. And Howard's like, yeah, the exact same with me. You know, I had this girlfriend when we were like 16, and, you know, she dumped me, and I was like, don't you know who I'm going to end up becoming? You know, and at that point, you know, he was just kind of a struggling guy just trying to figure out who he was. But I really am a firm believer that you should envision the future that you want and believe in yourself, because that means you're going to take chances and take risks and try different things and fail, and, you know, but you're going to have perseverance. And that's listening to Ellen as she went through her life and started off in kind of New Orleans, and, you know, came to Los Angeles and had her show, and then came out, and then the show got canceled, and then she went into a 3-year depression, and then kind of had to pick herself up again, and then her just pitching the talk show and having to do, you know, mock interviews with people just to get the, you know, green light to actually make the TV show. And just like all the steps people take to end up where they are just really kind of makes you realize how much work it takes, how much kind of rejection you face, how many obstacles you have to kind of break down and overcome. And that, you become a stronger person for it, and nothing happens overnight. So it's always kind of good. I love like nonfiction. I've said this before, reading a lot of books about people that have become really successful entrepreneurs. And just the same threads go through all these different lives that they have, is that, they move to where they need to move, they strike when the iron's hot, they, dig their heels in and work as hard as they can, even after rejection and adversity. And that's kind of the way that I want to live my life, where there's going to be times where, I'll go to an open mic and someone's a bully, and you're just like, oh, I really just do not like the way that you treated me, but what are you going to do? You're going to go home and cry about it? You're going to go, quit it because of it? No, absolutely not. Like, you just got to dig your heels in and grind it out and know that, the majority of people that you run into aren't like that. And you have to kind of, have that thick skin and let a lot of stuff kind of roll off your back. But she did actually talk about one guy that was a bully to her in San Francisco, after she was named like America's funniest comedian, and she's like, oh, what a ridiculous thing. It was earlier in her career, but she just won this contest that called her that, and that can kind of spring some jealousy and whatnot. And then the guy kind of bringing her up to stage just kept stressing, oh, she's America's funniest comedian, and really kind of laid it on thick, kind of like, sarcastically. And it was kind of nice to just be like, you know what, I don't know if you're watching, but like, you're not a very nice person. And it's just kind of funny, because you will remember the people. It's not like they won't get to you, of course they do, but it's that, you don't let that make you stop, or make you quit, or make you give up, or change your optimistic view on the world. And what I like about Ellen was she kind of very much described her TV show as a really positive place, a lot of positive energy, and just like she wants to make other people happy and just have a fun show that people kind of, watch and feel better about themselves, and kind of feel more just happy about the hour they just spent. So that's kind of what I would want to do, I think, in the future, is touring is lonely and long, and I think most comedians eventually, once they have a few tours under their belt, they realize that that's maybe not. And some people kind of maybe don't mind touring, but a lot of people are like, the hotels, the continental breakfast is really kind of what I want to do. And if you can kind of get a talk show or a sitcom, you can actually be grounded in one particular place and put down roots a little bit. And I think that she really likes living in Los Angeles and kind of being here. So it would be, oh man, it'd be super fun. Her tickets for her show get sold out like really, really fast. So I was checking online, and all of the ones that I saw were all just like sold out. And I was like, darn it, because her season's just kicking back up again, because I did do that Conan taping, so it'd be fun to go see Ellen. But we'll see. I hope to meet her one day. If I envision it, it will happen. And what else is going on in my life? I've thought about, and I might have mentioned this before, doing like a hybrid format for my show, and maybe starting for my 3rd anniversary, like kind of starting it off a little bit, hosting it. And then I was thinking about also having a musical guest on it, which I don't usually have. I've never had a musical guest on any of my comedy specials, but I did meet this girl at like a music open mic, and they let me do comedy there, which was great. And she had this like really interesting song that she wrote, and I like when people write their own songs instead of doing covers, because it's just like, this is who you are, this is your voice. And she wrote this song about liking nerds and like not liking kind of the jocks, and like, I don't really know if she thought it was comedy, but I thought that the lyrics they had this sweetness to them, and also this innocence, but it also came across as almost kind of humorous because of that. And so I just asked her if she would come and sing that song on my show, and I think that she will. She said that she has like a speech competition earlier in the day, but hopefully it'll be done in enough time, because I would love to have her on the show, and then it kind of makes it more of a little bit of a kind of a variety show, and I'm always kind of excited to try out something new. I'm literally like sweating buckets right now. It's really, really hot today. I think it's over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Whew, and it doesn't stop me from drinking tea. Like, my dad would be proud. I've had 2 cups of tea already today. And then, you just gotta keep doing open mics. I've been doing a ton. I have been having a really fun time performing here in Los Angeles, and I'm just so enthusiastic to be on stage, like, all the time. There's actually, okay, this is the story I'll say. And I'm sorry, Mom, that this is something that happened, but I wanted to get to Flappers, which is a comedy club in Burbank, for their late night open mic on Saturday. So I had to take a bus to another bus, and I took that first bus and I looked at the transfer and I was going to be able to make it on time. But there was no traffic, and I was used to the bus ride being longer during the day, and so I lost track of time just like on Reddit on a comment thread, as you do. And I missed my stop by 2 stops, so I had to get off, and I like kind of walked really quick to my transfer. But as I was approaching the street, I see, and I was actually walking down Chevy Chase. There's a street here called Chevy Chase. I'm not sure if it's a drive or an avenue, but it's hilarious. Anyway, so I see the bus going, and I was like, darn it, and I looked, and I had like 40 minutes to get to Flappers, and it was a bucket show. So if you're not there on time, the bucket's taken away, and you've wasted your time, and I'd already spent about half an hour getting there. So I was like, how am I going to get to Flappers? And like Uber's a popular thing, but my credit card, it only has like a $300 limit because I don't have any American credit, so I'm building it with Capital One. And so I didn't have enough room on it to like spend $10 or $15. So I was like, all right, well, there's a Mexican restaurant right here. I'm just going to go in there and see if I can get anyone to drive me to Flappers and just say like, I missed my bus and I'm Canadian, please help me. And so I saw this like solitary white guy, kind of nerdy looking, in the lineup. And so I was like, you know, did you come here by yourself? He's like, yeah. I was like, well, would you happen to drive me to Flappers? And he's like, no, I just live around the corner. And I was like, okay. And then I saw 2 people just sitting at a table waiting for their food to come. And they were, you know, speaking in Spanish, and I was like, oh, hi, you know, my name's Michelle, and I missed my transfer, and it's only about 9 minutes down the road. Like, after you finish your meal, would you at all, I have $1, I had $1 cash, would you at all take me to Flappers? And they're like, yeah, sure, of course. And they invited me to sit with them. When their food came, they gave me a few of their tacos, which were delicious, and they were kind of heading in that direction. And so we get in the car, and then they drop me off, and I kind of run in just in the nick of time to put my name in the bucket. And I was like, wow. And so I made a joke, and I was like, yeah, you know, like the best kind of transfers are, you know, minority transfers. Like, minorities have treated me nicer here in Los Angeles than any group of people, and which is true. So it's kind of interesting. Like, I don't know what it is about, I know people that maybe don't have as much sometimes are much more likely to share. I really do think that that is the case. I find that the more you have, the more people are protective of it. You know, it's mine, it's not yours, and like, I can't help you. Like, I don't know. I know that my dad sometimes understood that, and that's sometimes why he liked kind of going on vacation to other parts of the world where people didn't seem, you know, maybe as entitled. But I really genuinely, you know, get along well with people that kind of just don't have, not, you know, pretentious and seem helpful, and I don't know, they're my favorite types of people, I guess, out there. But, you know, there's good people in every walk of life, though. A lot of people say that Canadians are really friendly, and it's like, well, they are really friendly, but I mean, there's some people there too that I'm sure aren't. So that's just kind of how the world works. But it was very nice to get a free ride up to Flappers and to make it in time for my open mic. And yeah, I'm just one of those crazy people that will go up to strangers and ask them for a ride. And I actually, after that set, someone came up to me and she's like, I'm a mother, like, please call me if you ever need a ride. But she lived nowhere close to me. And it's like, you know what are the odds that you're going to approach someone and they're like, we're on the hunt to murder you that night? Like, I just don't think, I don't know, maybe it's I'm just too trusting, sure. But, like, I don't know. I don't think 2 people just, like, you know, Saturday night, ordering some tacos, we're like, oh, you know what, I really hope, like, some, you know, skinny white woman comes up to us today and asks us for a ride somewhere, because, like, that's going to be our opportunity. Like, I don't know, I think the odds are low. Anyways, yeah, I'm sure not exactly a story that your mother would want to hear, but it did happen, and I did get to do my 3 minutes on that Saturday night at Flappers, and it went well, and it was a fun story. So anyways, this has been your next edition of Stand Up Diaries. I have been Michelle Christine.